In this video, we're going to talk about how to make your funnel pages look great. Now, I'm also going to be talking about some of the psychology behind the marketing and some of the things that you need to be aware of when you're building funnels. So I'm going to start with just our VSL template that we've given you and some basic things that I'm going to throw at you in terms of marketing. Obviously, brand, right? You want all of the steps of your funnel to be congruent, meaning the look. And some very easy things to do if you are building funnels from scratch is to clone a funnel step. Once you've got the design the way you want it, once you have the branding the way that you want it, you can simply clone it and then you can start from there. That'll help you maintain that congruency. What you don't want is a bunch of different pages and steps of your funnels to look different. You want them to be the same. Now, the template that we give you is very basic, and that's simply because you're going to have to come in and brand it yourself. So one of the things that I always like to do is to call out the main pain point or call out the avatar in some sort of smaller font up above, the type of training that it is, and then obviously your hook, whatever was on your opt-in page, whatever lead magnet you're delivering. And that's what the VSL is. Your VSL is delivering the training content. It's talking about the PDF. It's walking them through the cheat sheet, the template, whatever you're promising as the lead magnet, your VSL should be walking them through that. And then of course, a tie-in to your high ticket offer to work with you to get coaching, to make it easier, faster, better, however you're tying it in to your offer. That's what the call to action is, obviously to book a call, schedule that call and go from there. But in terms of making your page look good, what you want to be aware of is not overloading it with large images. Page speed is really important. And in order to keep your page speed fast, one of the best and easiest things you can do is use smaller images. So, and you got to be careful, just because if I upload an image here, for example, that is, and I'll just show you a perfect example of this. Let's go business and let's do, I'll use one of these and I'm just going to select this image right here. Okay. Now that looks small, right? I mean, from, the look of it, you're thinking, hey, that looks great, right? But when I go and preview it here, watch what happens. If I were to open this image up in a new tab, look how big that image is. Okay. This is going to slow your site down so much. So what do? You go to a place like Canva, where you can resize an image. I use, Adobe Photoshop, any kind of resizing, and just shrink it down to basically the size that the template is, right? What size is that? You might have to mess around with some different sizes, but this is going to help the experience of your page dramatically. If that page loads quick, you're going to be good to go, right? That's what you're after, okay? Another thing that you want to make sure that you're using is a Favicon, okay? The Favicon is the little image that you see right here. You see how we have the E on the Elite360? There isn't one here because obviously this is a template, right? So if you were to go into your settings inside your funnel builder, click on settings, see this Favicon URL? You can add the URL there of your Favicon. And where do you get that? You can just upload it to your media. And if you go inside your media, you open your media library, each one of these has a link. So if you just grab that link, see how I'll use this one because that one sort of matches the look a little bit better. I'm going to throw it in here, just Command V, save it. And now when I go back and I look at my funnel, okay, let me go back. Now when I open up my funnel, watch what's going to happen to the little Favicon. See now that how it appears there? That's much more professional. If you don't have one, or if you're using a page builder that's not ours, like if you're using ClickFunnels or Kajabi, you're going to get a K for Kajabi or like the ClickFunnels logo. It's not professional. You want people to know that you're serious about your business, and that attention to detail is important. All right. Especially if you're marketing to business type people, investing, finance, real estate, that type of coaching, those people are going to get it, right? General business like we do. So that's important. May not seem like a big deal, but it is. Okay. So let's get in and design a little bit. So obviously you can mess around with the colors. That's very simple. If I just remember, you got the green section there. I can just go down here. I can change change the color. It should be colors that complement each other, right? Like this would not look good. Like if my primary colors, let's say, are this sort of, maroon or pink with, like, let's say a dark gray, right? That might look good, right? And the way that you see, if you don't see your color there, you can just click here to add a custom one. It'll bring up the color wheel, and I can go and I can just grab the color and click add to color. See that? So that doesn't look bad, right? Those colors sort of complement each other. And that's something that you could do. But what you got to be careful of is using colors that don't complement each other, like this, right? See, that's an awful look, right? You see how there's white? You can barely read the words. It's okay if yellow is one of your, or like a gold is one of your colors, but a better complement to that, a better color complement to that would be black, right? Another little pro tip inside of Elite360 is the undo. If you just click undo, it'll undo and it'll go, you can keep going back to the version that you got it, where you had it. So if you do mess up, don't worry about it. It's not the end of the world. In fact, I'm going to undo so far back that I don't have, actually I can because I already exited out of it, but that's okay. Okay, so that's, color, right? That's one thing. Another thing that you can do is a background image. Okay, now you got to be careful with this because there's some, it can get a little busy in the background. But if I just click on the settings, right, I've got the green, so that's the background. I can actually add a background color if I wanted to, right? I could add that background color. Doesn't look super good, but if I wanted to add a background image, if I just scroll down a little bit, see where it says BG image, just click on that. And again, I could just, let me do the business thing again. I'll go into my free images, and the same rule applies here. This background image is going to be really, really big. Okay, so you got to be careful with this. So let's say I select that as my background image. It doesn't look good, so I'm going to change the background color to transparent. So you see how it's way over there? That's not professional. That's not what you want. So the image options right here says, it says no repeat. That's not what you want. What you want is 100% full and width, or you could do like full center parallax. What that means, that gives it a really cool feature where if I scroll the full center parallax, see how the image doesn't move in the background when I scroll? That's pretty cool, right? 100% full and width. It scrolls with the page. I like the parallax look. It's a neat feature because what you can do is mess around with it. So yeah, that's not bad. What I would have to do here, though, is now I'd have to change the color of these fonts. And here's what's pretty cool about Elite360's funnel builder. Unlike other funnel builders where really you can only change like the bold or the regular font, here you've got lots of options. You can do color, just normal of the normal text. You can do bold text. You can do italic. Let me just select that so it gets out of the way. You can do underlined, you can do link text color and icon color. So you can have really all these different variations in one, which is pretty nice. But obviously the black on the dark background doesn't look great. If you wanted to keep that, what you could do is select the background. Remember, the green section is that overall background there. What I can do is I can change the background image opacity. That's one thing that I could do. I could do like a light fade. That's not bad. I could do a half fade. Let's see what. Okay, that looks pretty cool. I mean, it's not perfect. Let's see what the heavy fade looks like. Better, right? So if you wanted to add a little dimension, a background image to your page, do that. That's fine. There's nothing wrong with it. Understand it will affect your page load time, okay? But also understand that it looks good, right? It's something that can add a little bit of something, a little bit of pop to it, okay? Another thing you can do, if you have a section that they're scrolling past, is you can actually change the opacity. Opacity just means like, can I see through it a little bit? You can change the opacity of the background color, right? So I could just click on that and I can click on add custom and I can do here. And if I wanted to change this color, I could, let's see, whatever the color is, like let's say it's right there, and then I could just start going down a little bit, right? Add color. And that's going to add a little bit of a different opacity to it. So as I'm scrolling through it, let me could do this one, if you had a background image, it could help, or you'd be able to see through it. So I can do the same thing here where I can add a background color. I can take that main background color, see how I've got that opacity turned down on it a little bit. What that allows me to do, it's got the heavy fade, but obviously the coloring doesn't look good, right? I'd probably want to use a different one. That looks a little bit better. I don't think we really have to do that because we've got it on the, we've got a light enough background. So you want dark lettering on a lighter background. You want light lettering on a darker background, right? If I were to make this entire thing just black, right? See, that does not look good. So what I'd want to do is I'd want to change the color of my text to white, right? And that's when it pops a lot more. So, and you could leave the color in there, right? The branding color, you can certainly do that, right? But you see the difference there? It pops. You want it to pull it out, right? Okay, so another thing that you can do is add some borders to this. One thing that's kind of nice is, I need to undo all these. Make sure that we keep our design as it is. Okay, let me save that. Okay, so another thing that you can do is you can add a border which can give some color, a little, jazz it up a little bit. So if I select this section, I click on advanced and I go to border, see how I can do full border? You don't want to do that. I want to do the bottom border only, bottom border. And you could select, the size. So I'm going to just do the bottom border 3x and I can change it. I can make it bigger if I wanted to, but then it's going to give it a color. It's hard to see, but because it's the same color, but if I were to change it to my other brand color, I'm sorry. I clicked on the wrong thing there. Aha. That's why you use the undo. But if I want to do the border, bottom border, and I want to change the border color to that, and then maybe make it a little bit bigger. See, it adds a little bit of a kind of a shade and a border around it. Just again, another dimension, it's something else that you can add to your page. Makes it look a little bit different than what they're normally going to see, right? That's, I think, more of what I was going for. I think that's probably, for some reason, the other one added the whole border to it, but this will look a little bit different. See that? It kind of breaks it up, and this would be like your secondary color. So that branding is really important. You want to make sure you use your branding properly. Colors that complement each other, that match your brand. It should tie into your logo. And the logo is another thing that we should probably talk about. You don't always need to have your logo in the headline. You could put it down below. I would recommend putting it down below. It really doesn't matter. Your logo really doesn't matter at this point because they don't know who you are anyway. And you're going to establish that trust. You can use it on like your confirmation page or, once they booked a call or something like that. You don't need to worry too much about it in the headline. I believe very much in getting straight to it and, getting to the point. The other thing to look at obviously also is the sizing of your mobile, right? I would make this much smaller. Okay. I'd go down to, remember, you don't have to create a whole separate thing. You just change the mobile size, right? That's way too small, so I'd probably just stick with it on 2 lines. This size is okay. Maybe you could make it a little smaller on mobile. Get it on 2 lines. There you go. That looks better. You can do the same thing with mobile buttons. I can change the mobile size, right? If I don't want it on 3 and want it that big, I would need to change this. Probably should have done this to begin with, but that's okay. This is kind of a neat little feature to talk about. Here's what's included in, and there's a custom value right there. That custom value, remember one of the earlier trainings, we talked about updating your custom values. So when you put your offer name, here's what's included in, it's going to automatically update this page. Now you can always just come in and change it and write text in there if that's what you want. There's nothing wrong with that. But again, I would make all of these things appear on one line, right? This stuff looks good. Let's make that a little smaller. Yeah. You see what I'm saying? It's just, it makes it appear a lot better on mobile, and that's what you're looking for, right? You're looking for that continuity, right? You're looking for it to be a seamless process for the people who are on your page. And then, from here, obviously if you're doing your value stack, I would use probably icons as the image. I wouldn't necessarily use an image. Well, I guess you could. Like, let's say, for example, your feature, your first one is the first part of your program is like a getting started training, right? And what I would describe in here is all the stuff that how that is going to help those people. You're going to guide them step by step. You're going to give them all this stuff. So maybe there's an image that represents getting started. Remember, use a small image when you do that. A small image that would fit in there. Probably going to be like 250 pixels wide, something like that. Okay. By comparison, a headline, this one would probably be like 1920 by 1080, right? That would be like the size of a what I call a hero image. This is a small little content image, small, okay? And then your screenshot, testimonials for your screenshot testimonials, those should be small as well. And small meaning not huge images. If you take screenshots from your computer, it's going to take a really big screenshot. It's a really big image, okay? And it's not, it's going to slow down your page tremendously, okay? So these are just some ideas for you to kind of, start to jazz up your page a little bit. There's a lot of stuff that you can do to make it, to customize it. You can mess around with your buttons and your font size. You can add subtext. You can, I don't have subtext there, but like, you see, I mean, you can do a lot of different things to customize it and make it your own. You can also start from scratch. Okay. If you want to start from scratch, they actually have we have some pretty good templates that are in there that you can work with. We'll have future funnels and make those shareable in the future that you'll be able to download and load into your system. But for now, as you're going through, you can, get the content in there first and the branding. You can always worry about going back and making it prettier later. So there you go. We'll see you in the next training.